My name is Senator Dave Syverson, and it is my honor to participate in the SELA Awards sponsored by the Students Seeking Success as you celebrate Ladies for Liberty. I'd like to talk to you today about Lottie Holman O'Neill, the first woman to serve as a state lawmaker here in Illinois. But before I get into her story, let's review a little history. On June 10, 1919, Illinois was actually the first state to ratify the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, which granted women the right to vote. It was a close race to see who would be first, but in the end, Illinois ended up first, followed by Wisconsin just 1 hour later, and then Michigan later that same day. Illinois women were crucial in the women's rights and suffrage movement throughout the 19th and 20th centuries. They articulated strategies and developed techniques that played a significant role in statewide and national campaigns. In 1913, Illinois was the first state east of the Mississippi to give women the right to vote. Given the large population of voters, Illinois women could now sway national elections with their votes. Illinois women continued to press for full suffrage throughout the United States, and eventually won with the final passage of the 19th Amendment. But long before the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, a young woman by the name of Lottie Holman O'Neill from Downers Grove was paving the way for young women not only to vote, but to hold public office. Lottie Holman O'Neill, married in 1904, moved to Downers Grove to pursue a career. She became an advocate for equal voting rights and worked with the League of Women Voters during the debate on the entire women's suffrage issue. Women were granted voting rights in 1913, but that wasn't enough for Lottie. She wanted women to have access to races at every level of the ballot, and her persistence paid off when Illinois became the first state in the Union to ratify the amendment in 1920. Lottie was inspired to enter politics by U.S. Representative Rankin, the first woman elected to Congress in 1916 from Montana. So in 1922, Lottie declared her candidacy for the Illinois House of Representatives. Her bid for State House was successful, and upon swearing in, Lottie became the first woman to serve as an Illinois legislator. Lottie's legislative district at that time included Downers Grove, what is now in the 41st Senate District, encompassing portions of DuPage and Will counties and part of Kane County. Representative O'Neill sponsored pivotal legislation establishing an 8-hour workday for women. She also was a fierce advocate for disabled children, and a cause close to my heart, she was a strong supporter of public parks. After an unsuccessful Senate bid in 1930, Lottie returned to her role in the House of Representatives. However, in 1950, she made history again when she ran a second time for the Illinois Senate and became our state's first female senator. During her time in the Senate, O'Neill was an opponent of growing state budgets. She was against excessive regulations, and she served as a delegate in the 1956 Republican Convention, and she was outspoken on federal issues as well. Senator O'Neill retired in 1962 after 40 years in the General Assembly, making her the longest-serving female elected official in American history, at that time at least. Widely respected by lawmakers on both sides of the chamber, on both sides of the aisle, she ultimately became known as the conscience of the Senate. Upon her retirement, Senator O'Neill declined an invitation to have a statue of herself placed in the rotunda in the State House. At the time, she said she didn't want a statue of her to face that scoundrel, State Senator Richard Barr of Joliet, who had beaten her in the 1930 primary election. So you see, parties fought each other even back then. Well, that was the only election that Lottie lost, and her famous fight was talked about for years until she retired in 1962. Following her death in 1967, a school was named for her in Downers Grove, and in honor of this extraordinary woman and the role she played in advancing women's rights in government, Illinois honored her by placing a statue of her on the second floor on the rotunda in the Capitol in 1976. Her record as the longest-serving female legislator in Illinois history was only surpassed by Barbara Flynn Curry, who served in the House until January of 2019. Information from the website of Illinois Conference of Women Legislators shows that in 1985, then State Senator Adeline Geocaris became the first woman to serve as an assistant majority leader in the Illinois Senate. And in 2009, Senator Christine Radogno became the state's first woman to lead either party as a caucus leader. I actually served with both of these women and supported them for this Republican leadership position. So I'm proud to join in this celebration, and now I've been asked to also read a proclamation that Winnebago County had passed. Whereas SELA awards were created to acknowledge the esteemed individuals for their public service and philanthropic efforts, which supports our nation's prosperity within the community. And whereas in honoring the recognition of celebrating the centennial election of Illinois and their first female legislator, Miss Lottie O'Neill, and the centennial ratification of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution as part of the women's suffrage movement, Gethsemane Christian Church would like to recognize over 30 first female historical elected and appointed officials within the Rockford, Winnebago County region for their contribution and faithful service spanning over 100 years, and for their exemplary accomplishments during their years of service. And whereas Winnebago County's female historical elected appointed officials teach our Rockford youth the importance of our American heritage and the civil duties of every citizen in faith, hope, love, justice, and liberty for prosperity and for the life of their families. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Joseph Shirelli, Chairman of the Winnebago County Board, hereby recognize the women of Rockford and Winnebago County region for the first women to be elected and appointed to their respective offices, and encourage the citizens to honor them as well. This was witnessed and signed by the Winnebago County Board on the 15th day of November 2021. So again, thank you for allowing me to be part of this celebration. God bless.